back there in 1955, what was Mississippi like?
Well, like I said, Mississippi always was a prejudiced place, always that way, you know. But like I said, and I just got to tell you, let's just get one thing. If you was all right with them white folks, long as you sharecrop with them and everything, but you start messing around, like I say, stealing, messing with the women and the cotton, then you got a problem. And other than that, they would do anything for you. But them two things they just didn't like. But like I say, and one thing about that, about the South at that time, white folks down South never did thought black people would get grown. They didn't thought they would get grown. They would always say, if you like my grandfather, it was like it's up in his, in his 60s, and they was always uncle. They would always be an aunt. They would never say, that's what they would always call them, aunt and grand. They'd always call them that. So that's how it was in 1955.
Mm-hmm. There was a bunch of things that you couldn't, that white people didn't like you to do. They didn't like you, like you said, mess with their women. You had to, give them the right of way on the sidewalk, right? They didn't want you to look at them in the eye. What were the things think back for me. You grew up there till you were 18. What was it that they didn't want you to do?
Well, like I say, they always want to be in the front. Like you say, you got country say had one place there that was a what they call flat. There was all black people went over there. That was like the little bars and things, or little bars and stuff like that. But like on the main street, you would have to give them that, like it all depends on what white man that you was working for. Now, if you was working for at that time for a powerful white man, then that black man, he can go anywhere he wants, because that white man got more powerful, and some of them then, like I say, you got to like Dewey Ross and all them guys. Now, you wouldn't dare to mess with one of the you working for them. You would not mess with them, because they know Dewey Ross was a bad man, and you did not mess with his black people on this plantation. See. And I know the time that they had turned around and they had one guy that killed one black guy. But when it comes down for him to go to trial, what he told him? He said, no, okay. He said, well, one thing, he said, when the trial comes, I'm going to bring him there. He let him play, playing this field, and okay, when the trial come, he took him on and take him come right on up to the trial, and then brought him right on back. So that was a difference in now if you was on one of them there white men was smart, was sort of low, then they would do anything to you. So they had a couple few white men was down there and I know one man had one kid, and he was, like I said, I don't know, but he turned around and there was a pool hall. There was nothing but white folks in there. That's all white could go in there. But this kid could go in there with him. See, and I saw that happen somewhere. That's what the thing was.
So if you work for a powerful white man, then as a black person you got power.
Yeah, you got power. Cause he will let you. They will let you know. And it didn't matter of fact, they know themselves who to mess with and who not to mess with. And if you living on those white man power place, and you just one of the white man said something, you say, well, I live on this place, you ain't got no problem. You didn't have no problem that time.
So they had their own culture, their own way of doing things.
They had their own way of doing things.
What would happen if you broke the rules, if you messed with a white woman, or you said something to a white woman?
Well, but the same thing would happen to at that time. The same thing what happened to Emmett would happen to you. We did the same thing.
I want to talk about this before so don't tell me about Emmett.
Okay.
Okay, because I don't want, we haven't talked about Emmett yet.
Okay.
So start it out. If you said something to a white woman, What would happen?
If you said something to a white woman, I mean, you'd be lynched. You would be. Because, you know, like I say, now, like I'm still saying, it's still the people, just all the people who knew you working for. Now, I was working for old man, had old Miller's there. Now, he had his old 10-cent store there. But I was the only one I could work at his house. I could work there, you know, cut his lawn, everything. And then when I got ready to go, and when I got ready to go home, I lived about 2 or 3 miles from there. His wife would put me in the back of the car and take me on there. Take me right on home. See?
Okay, let's cut. This cat's freaking me out. He was lynched. I mean, was lynching a real threat back then? Was it something?
No, I never did, because, you know, at the time, like I say, most of the people down there, especially black people down there, black men, they knew the rules. See, so they didn't have that. They knew that rule. So that's why you didn't have that happen.
Because you knew what to do.
You know, they knew what to do.
Talk about, you know, one thing. Could you vote down there? What would happen if you wouldn't try to vote?
No, you couldn't vote. No, they wouldn't. You couldn't vote there. No, you couldn't vote. They wouldn't allow you to vote there. No way.
What would happen if you change this for me?
Oh, sorry. Okay.
What would happen if you tried to vote?
At that time, what would happen to you if you tried to vote? It would be the same thing what happened in Montgomery, Alabama. It'd be the same thing. You just couldn't vote.
I mean, would they say no, you can't vote? Or they would
say no. They'll tell you no, you can't vote, and then you know you ain't going up to their poll trying to vote.
Willie, tell me the story of what happened that was it the morning when Emmett was killed? What happened?
No, that was the morning.
Where were you and what happened?
No, well, I don't know why my grandfather had choose me on that 4th Sunday of August to that I have to go to the store that morning, and that he wanted me to go to Bo Bishop's store. It was a little store there, maybe about a mile from there, that I have to go over there and get something for, you know, for he go there what he wanted. And okay, when I left home and I was on my way, and when I get there, just about when I'm from the come out, go on a little old hill on there, that's where Marlon place was. And as I turned around, I looked, and I saw two tight. I saw Hubbard, and I saw Emmett Till on the back of this truck. Then I saw Brown, I saw Marlon. So, and before I could get there, I could hear all this beating, and I could hear this beating, and I could hear this crying and beating. And I'm saying to myself, they beating somebody up there. Now, I got to pass there, but when I got to pass there, I passed there, then I'm going up to Miss Manning's house. And I tell Miss Manning, I said, Miss Manning, you know anything? I said, I don't know who. I said, but they beating somebody up there, they beating somebody. She said, well, let's go back up there. I said, okay. So, okay, we came back up. And at that time, there was a well there. I turned the well on and get some water. At that time, when I got back, I didn't hear nothing. No beating, no nothing. Didn't hear anything. And the only thing I saw then was Marlon came out, and I was down getting me some water. Miss Brandon, Miss Marlon, she was standing that way. So then I'm drinking me some water. So he said, did you hear anything? And at that time I looked, I saw him, he had a khaki pants on, had a green island shirt, and a 45 on his side. So I said, no, I said, I ain't heard anything. I said, anything. And at that time, me and Miss Bradley went on to the house. So then I got to go to the store. So I went on the store, and I came back and I told my grandfather, I said, you know, Granddad, I said, I don't know who it was. I said, but you know, them people, I said, mine, them was beating somebody. I said, I don't know what happened. So we don't even know what happened. So, but like I said, I know he was driving this like this green 1955 pickup. I knew what happened. So I came back, and about two or three days later, maybe after that, then we knew who it was, because that's when they had killed him. And so when they had found the body. So, and I was in the cotton field, and I was picking cotton. I'm having to look at my grandfather told me, now, hey, you better be quiet about this, be quiet. And I said, yeah. And at that time, I happened to look up how they found out. I don't know how they found that, how they found that I knew something about it. And I looked across the field, and there was about 7 or 8 people coming across the field toward me. It was white and black coming that way. And then that's when they told me that was Emmett Till that they had killed, that they had found the body. And then they began to question me about this here. Did you see anything? So I told them what I saw. And that's all I could do is tell them what I saw. And so after this, my grandfather said to me, he said, well, I don't know what we said. So then, like I said, about Clint Shirt, and we lit it on, we sharecropped with him. So they had found out that I knew about this. So then, Clint come down, that Clint Shirt, come down and told my grandfather, I'll tell you one thing, he said, don't let him stay here tonight. So what you do, you take him somewhere. That my grandfather woke me up. Now we got to go up to his sister's house on Blackwood Plantation. Must have been about 2.5 miles from there. So we come, my grandfather said, no, we're not going to walk on the road until we're going through these cotton fields, going through these cornfields. That's just the way we went. So then I got there, so he told me, you go on and go to sleep. I dropped down and go to sleep. Now, Clint Stewart, and they knew then where I was. So what they did is they send the high sheriff from Drew to pick me up, and my grandfather said, no, I'm going with him. So that's when we went to Monty's for this trial. And after that now, we sort of got mixed plays. They hadn't never really, they were getting ready for that trial then. Now, I had to find out, I got to get to Mount Bow, and that's where Dr. Howard was. I got to get there. So I couldn't get nobody, but I got one fella, and his name was Earl Jr., which he wasn't scared of no white man, no black man, period. So now I was telling him, he said, okay, so yeah, I'll take you on to Mount Bow. So he's driving over 1951 Chevrolet. He took me right on there. But see, trying to get into Dr. Howard's house, what his property was, he was just like you trying to get into the White House because he had his own bodyguards out there in them little houses, had his own. And so then that's when I started staying there. I stayed there until after the trial was over. So after that, like I said, after the trial was over, now we still got mixed play, but then I got to get back to Mount Bow myself. So finally I got back there. And after that, finally I got back. And then they got me out of there like that Friday. Then I had to come to Memphis. Took to Memphis and brought me to Memphis. And they put the NAACP, I forget the name, that brought me to make sure that I got to Memphis and everything. And where I stayed there. And that's where I stayed. And then they put me on a plane that Saturday, that Friday night. And I arrived in Chicago on that Saturday morning, which that's where my mother picked me up at. And at the time, I didn't know now. I didn't know at the time. Time I got to Chicago, I was supposed to have been under police protection then. So we don't even know this here. So what me, my uncle and them, with my uncle and them, they come in there because they lived here. So I said, we going out. So we all went out. And so at the time I was supposed to be on police, we don't know. So we turned around and we went to the west side. And so we get in maybe like 4 o'clock that Sunday morning. And so at the time, it was 2 detectives was sitting out in the front of the house, 2103 South Michigan. And so then they start calling me. They call him Willie Reed. Now my uncles and I got 3 uncles there. They don't know that. Don't nobody was supposed to know me there. So my uncle and them said, well, they don't nobody know you here. Don't nobody know you here. And because the detectives, they was black. And then my uncle got smart when he said, no, I said, my uncle said, well, I tell you what he would do to him. He said, no, so you don't say that because he said, you may get this pulled gun. I mean, he showed us ID when he was a policeman. So he's supposed to be on that police protection when he first got this guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you another question. So you see this, you hear this happening and see this happening. What made you decide to testify?
Well, what made me decide to testify? Because I look at, I'm say I didn't know anything about him or nothing like that. Then I'm looking, there's a 14-year-old kid. There's a 14-year-old, and I'm 18, right? So I didn't have no choice but to tell the truth. What I saw, and that's what I told him to show. I saw that. See, I saw what I saw. And it wasn't much like I said, it's just something that I have to just go and do, tell the truth. See. And then too, like I said, the thing what it was, like I said, even in Chicago now Chicago was like the South, like the North was talking about how bad is the South. The South was the worst. The North is worse than the South for being prejudiced. Now, when I like I said, when I come out, I was on the police guard almost about 6 weeks on the police guard. I couldn't go nowhere without the police. Then I was getting threatened phone calls from here. See. Now, I show you about how it is. Now, I was living at 2103 South Michigan. There's a tavern right there on 22nd in Michigan. There's all white tavern there. That's one block. Now, then there's a Walgreens right on Wabash. That's one block. That's a Walgreens there. So one day, one Sunday I forgot, I didn't get no cigarettes. I said, well, I'm going to go up here and get the walk. But when I got there, Walgreens was closed. Now I'm going to walk back up to 22nd and 22nd in Michigan. It's all white. When I walked in there, he's looking, they're all looking. So now, can I help you? I said, yeah. I said, you can sell me a pack of cigarettes. He said, well, what about Walgreens? So then I said, well, right now, I said, Walgreens is closed. I've been down there. He said, I'll tell you one thing. He said, I'm going to sell you a pack of cigarettes tonight. But make sure you go to Walgreens and get them next. So I'm one block from there. See?
I just want to ask you some more questions about Mississippi. That's okay. About that day. We should be get real close, I guess.
Okay, close again.
Real close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you heard. What did you hear when you heard them? In there with Emmett.
I could hear them screaming, and I can also hear them what they was beating him with. I could hear them their licks from. I could hear him and hear him screaming. See, I heard that even before I got to the barn. I passed, they still was beating. I could hear that. But like I say, when I come back, I didn't hear no more beating. Everything was quiet. So, and I'm pretty sure at that time they had killed him anyway.
I saw this reporter from back then on TV. And he said that, the sound of a 14-year-old screaming could sound like the grunting of a pig. It could have been the grunting of a pig.
You could hear it. You could hear this. You could hear this sound, brother. You could hear it. But you could hear. You could hear him grunting. You could hear them licks. You can hear that.
So it couldn't have been the grunting of a pig. Could it have been?
No, not grunting of a pig. But I tell you, a whole lot of people. This is the thing. A whole lot of people. Right now, a whole lot of people say, well, this happened, this happened. But see, the thing with this, a whole lot of people, you can't, if you wasn't there, you can't say it. But see, I was there. I knew when I heard, I saw this here, I could hear this beating. Now, I could hear this beating. So they could, people say, well, this and that. Because they really don't know.
Was he crying out for his mother?
Yeah, he was crying out. He was crying out. But, he was just crying out. You got to make it right naturally. You 14 and you getting whooped like that, and you don't whoop. How many was whooping him or not? Yeah, you gonna be crying out.
What was he saying?
He was just crying out. Just like this. Yeah, I don't know.
And it seems like you're cutting off his head. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah. In order to be like that, he's moving around. So what I'm trying to do is to keep room in the bottom of the frame as opposed to the top.
Okay.
Let me stop for a second, okay?
Roll and speak.
You do what was Milam like? What kind of man was Milam?
Well, I like I said, I really didn't know. Like, I know the one that owned the plantation. His brother. But I know he used to do a whole lot of people, black people, because he didn't have that many people working on that live on this plantation. But he did have a whole lot of them that worked for him. But for his Marlon and Brian, I didn't know anything about them. The only thing that I knew about dealing with Marlon, because he was Marlon's brother, but Brian, I never saw him until that Sunday. I never saw him but that Sunday.
Mm-hmm. And you said that there were these guys, these black people with him.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that was Too Tight and Hubbard. Too Tight, Colin and Hubbard. And they was with him. They was, of course, Emmett on the truck, and these three on the back. You got five people there. You got 3 men, you got 3 adults and a 14-year-old kid. You got 3 black, and you got two white. The 2 white ones was in the cab of the truck. The 3 black was on the back.
Why would the black people be there? Why would they be part of this?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know why would they be a part of this, but I'm pretty sure they were the part of it, because if they weren't a part of it, they wouldn't have been there in the first beginning. See, they wouldn't have been there in the first beginning.
And they were never tried or talked to about?
No, they never. After that, I never saw them. I never saw them at all. After this, when I saw them, like I said, I knew them, but after that, I never saw them. I never talked with them since. After this, I never saw them. I don't know what happened to them.
Mm-hmm. One thing, if you can, Willie, if you can help me to understand, because I'm from New York.
Okay.
I didn't grow up in Mississippi, but how could a black person, be part of this? Were they scared? It was, what?
Well, they could have been. They could have been. But for myself, I don't see myself being that scared to help any white man kill any black man. I wouldn't be that scared. I couldn't be that scared. Help you murder my own blood, no, I couldn't do that. See, I didn't do it. But I don't know. They may have been afraid. They could have been afraid, so I don't know. Maybe they could have been paid them something, maybe just to be with them. You know how them people do down south too. Same thing they do up here. They pay you, do this and so you never know what happened there. I said, I don't know.
It seemed to say something to me about the South that at that time, Mississippi, that these white guys want to do this, but then they want to get some black people to help them clean it up.
Well, that's possible. They could. That's possible. Because, like they say, if they went there to Mr. Mo's house to get him by themselves, they may have thought they going to run into some sort of problem. But if you see a black with them, it maybe could have been a little easier. I don't know about that. See, they didn't go there by themselves just to take their kids by themselves. All 4 of them went there. All 4 of them had to go there. Cause ain't no way how could they gonna take him and themselves and gonna put him and they watching him, and they're not gonna do that. They gonna take it. Evelyn and them 2 had to go along with him anyway. Cause if it didn't, how they gonna be that Sunday morning? He's still gonna be with them. The same 2, gonna be with them. They left with Emmett. So the 3 was still on the truck with him.
Let's cut. Okay. Good.
Speak.
Yeah.
I want you to remember back for me, Willie, and think about the trial. How was it? How did it feel when you walked in that courtroom?
Well, whenever you walk in that courtroom, and what you're gonna testify. Then you look at all these white folks and everybody looking at you, and they got their frowns on their face and everything. That's something it sort of worried me a little bit too. And then the most thing was really worried me more, even when we went in there, like I said, even before the trial even started, I have to go in that little room. This is where you come on this room. I goes in this room, but when I goes and open the door, there's a couple of people moving. When I go to open the door, they're Marlon and Brian sitting there in the chamber where the judge was, but they got their feet up on his desk. And I'm at the time I wasn't thinking about what I'm, what I'm doing in there. But they said, "Come on," that's why I went in there. But even before the trial started, I saw them. They was in this chamber desk. They had his feet. Both of them had their feet up on his desk.
You think they brought you in there to scare you?
I don't know, because I know after that, I had to come out. Then that's when I have to take the stand. Then see, but that's the thing they did before I even taken the stand.
So all the white people are looking at you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Talk again about. So how does it feel when you go into that courtroom and all those white?
Now, when you go in the courtroom like that, and you know what already done happened. You know that there's a 14-year-old kid been killed too. You know, and you there to testify, but then you just can't back down. You know, even if this happened to me. I just couldn't back down. I mean, I saw it. I saw what happened. And I saw when they had him. I saw who people was involved in it. So I couldn't back down on the kind of thing about me, thinking about what would happen to me. I would just have to go on and say what I saw and who I saw. So that's what I did. Like I said, I wouldn't say it was what you call afraid or nothing like that. But I'm thinking after what would happen, because I figured that I was going to be able to get out of there anyway and come home. Because I come down there, see, because my mother lived here.
So you were going to testify and leave?
Yeah, I was going to testify anyway. See, I was going to leave anyway. Because at the time, I probably couldn't. If I'd have stayed there, probably with them, they was out anyway. So they can, as a matter of fact, they could even pay somebody. Okay, well, you do and get somebody to even kill me, even my own people, you know. So I had to get with them anyway.
So you had to leave Mississippi?
Yeah, I left. Oh yeah, I left.
Mm-hmm. What was it like in the courtroom? Was it hot? Was it cold? What was it like?
No, it was hot. It was hot. It was hot. It was definitely hot.
Mm-hmm. Let's cut for 1 second.
Sure.
Okay. Let's just. I think when we left off, I had asked you, was it hot? And what was it like in the courtroom? But tell me, like the story. What was it like in the courtroom?
No, like I said, it was hot. And because, matter of fact, it was hot down there too. So in the courtroom was hot too. So, and then I say you sitting there, and like I said, with all these people, because the courtroom was full. It was full, and most of us there was white anyway, So it was hot. Mm-hmm. It was hot.
What was the worst part of testifying?
Well, for testifying, it wasn't hard for me to testify. Because I saw, what I saw there, what I saw with this, what I saw with, I have to testify, see. And then I got to tell the truth in the first beginning. I have to tell the truth. And things like this, for myself, I will never forget. I never forget these things. And from what happened on the fourth Sunday, and that was in 1955, fourth Sunday, 1955. So you take the day now, this is 2000, this is 2002, and the day is the 17th. So I hadn't forgot about none of them things what happened at that day, because it always been with me. Sometimes I think about it, and sometimes I try not to think about it. And if something happened, okay, I'll use this for an example. Why you don't forget things. You know, why you don't forget things. I know a whole lot of people forgot what even happened, but I never forgot. So I'll use this for an example. You take like now, say for instance, you can take like say 12 or 13-year-old young lady, say an older person, a woman. You mess around and you get raped by something. They never forget these things. All the rest of their life, they'll never forget it, regardless. They're always gonna come through their mind what happened to me. And so that would be the same thing with me. Say on that fourth Sunday of 1955, up in the day, I do think about things sometimes. And you can't forget it because they got Emmett Till, and I passed that drive, Emmett Till drive. They got his name, made a streak out of it, you see. And I pass it every day. So I can't forget it.
Do you think that can we go close, real close?
Sure, just a second.
Do you think that you know, when something like that happens, you know, you think about it, you think back on it, and you think I should have done this, I could have done this. Do you think about that?
Well, now, you know, I think about, you know, what could I did, you know. Then I can say, if I did anything that day, but anything, I could have been shot because Marlon had a 45, see. Because I know why he had the 45, because when I was drinking that water and he asked me that I hear anything, and I look back and I can see the 45 on his side. So I couldn't do anything.
I mean, I know how it is, but, you know, even when something like that happens, you know, you still think about it. You know what I mean? You think,
Yeah.
well, I should have.
No, but like I said, I did the best I could do because I went and told Miss Bradley. I went and told her. Now, is nobody the only person that I'd have to go way back to my home, you know, and I don't know because my grandfather, I really don't know. See, I really don't know.
But when you think about it, did you feel helpless back then? No, there was not much you could do.
No, it's nothing that I could do. But believe me, if I could have did something, I would have done it. But I just didn't have any, you know, I just didn't do anything. And, you know, like you say, sometimes, I'll tell you, sometimes I think about that. And sometimes I don't even say sometimes my wife, she knows when I'm thinking about something like that. I may go in the room and sit, you know, go in my room and sit and be quiet sometimes when you think about that. And so I usually, you know, I try not to think about it, but yet still every time, or sometime it comes across my mind, you know. Yeah.
What comes across your mind? The screams, the hollering?
No, most like here's a 14-year-old, you know, a nice kid. And you come down just to visit. And then his life being taken away from him, you know, just only because they said he was let a white woman. See? And what the white woman should have did, if he did, he may not even done it because he may not, you know how them white women, they say anything too. See? They can say anything too. And all they got to do is tell their husband or their friends, and they're gonna believe them.
Mm-hmm. I saw a film clip of black people in Greenwood and Sumner at that time. You know, at the time of the trial, the time that you were doing something I think was really brave and heroic. You were up there testifying and putting your life on the line to testify. And they asked these people on the street, you know, do you think that Milam and Bryant are guilty? Right? And these are black people down there, and they said to the reporter, I don't know, sir. I don't know, sir. I don't know, sir.
You know, I don't know why they could say, you know, why they not get, because they know any two time you take a life, you know, take a take a human being life, especially a 14-year-old kid. Then they say, well, they don't have enough evidence. You got enough evidence. I done already testified, told you what they had on, told you who they was with, and what they had on. And you gonna tell me you ain't got enough evidence? Why? Because he's white. That's why they didn't say they didn't have enough evidence. They had enough.
Mm-hmm. And I thought that the black people in this little film were just seeming that they were so scared.
Well, yeah, a whole lot of at the time, you know, like I said, it was a whole lot of people was more afraid at that time. But like I said, and only one I say now for one black person really helped me, because I mean, like I said, he wasn't scared of a white man or a black man. It was Will Jr. I told him, I want you to take me to Mount Body Dr. Howe. He said, come on, guy, I'll take you there. He took me there.
Just a couple more questions, Mr. Willie. The other thing was that I wanted to ask you again, because I just wanted to make sure we got this, and I want you to just tell me again. Again, I got this reporter. He's on television, from that time, from 1955, and he said that, well, Willie Reed, testified today that he heard this boy crying, but the crying of a 14-year-old boy sounds just like the grunting of a pig, so it could have been the grunting of a pig.
No, not to me sound like the grunting of a pig. No, I didn't say that the grunting of a pig. I didn't say that. I can hear this crying. I never said nothing about a grunting of a pig. I said, I hear this young kid is crying. He's beating him. And if that reporter wanted to put there, I mean, he can put it, but I didn't say that.
So you know it wasn't a grunting of a pig?
I know it wasn't a grunting of a pig because I can hear this kid moaning and groaning, and this kid hollering. I could hear that, but not grunting now.
Okay. Did you think when you testified? I mean, you're up there testifying, and you're putting your life on the line. Did you think that Milam and Bryant would be convicted?
Well, I thought so. I thought so.
Could you start over by saying, say I thought they would be convicted? Let me ask you again. Did you think they would be convicted?
I thought so. I thought they could with the evidence I thought they should have been convicted. I thought should have. And then, like I said, then they said, well, they couldn't get them on that. Well, we're going to go a kidnapping trial and stuff like this. So when me and Miss Moore Wright went to Greenwood, we go to court, we don't even see them. They're not even in court. Just me and him, because we had taken a train from Chicago, going to Greenwood that Sunday. We got in there that Sunday night. And somebody, I don't know, they supposed to picked us up at some place. But anyway, we got together and we had to get a room there. But anyway, so we turned around and that Monday morning, so we'd get up. So what I know said, Willie Reed and Mose Wright, they in Greenwood, but we don't know where they at. So right. So after that, we go there and then see them and dismiss it just like that. We got on and came on back home.
Let me ask you something about the kidnapping trial, and let's pretend like we don't know what's going to happen. Okay, so you came back to testify against the kid because it seemed like that the kidnapping seemed like it was a good chance of them being convicted since everybody saw them kidnap the boys. So did you think there was a chance of them being convicted of kidnapping?
Well, if you like I say, they should have been because they had taken from another little take him out of that money. What they take him out of money? Then we brought him to Sunflower County. They didn't transfer them over to Sunflower County. See, they didn't kill him there. They brought him over to Sunflower County, so they killed him there in Sunflower County.
So you thought there was a chance of them being convicted of kidnapping?
Well, after they didn't convict him for the first trial, I thought they would get him on just because they transferred him to another county. And but like I said, we didn't even see him.
Are you sorry or glad that you testified?
No, I'm glad I did what I had to do. I mean, I did what I have to do. Even like sometimes I say I think about it, but I mean I have to just go on and live on with it. I didn't live with it now 65. I'm 65, and I've been living with it since I'm 18. So when I was 18, so I'm still living with it. So I did just what I have to do. You got to do just what you got to do. See, and like I said, I'm glad I did what I did. I could have said no. I ain't heard I don't know nothing. I could have even said that, but I have to tell what I have to testify, and I did that.
Mm-hmm.